Hey, I'm Gigi. I'm
Hi,
trying to be.
everybody. Well, I'm starting off. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Tea Time Network conversation with trans women. I'm joined with a nice set of opinionated, outspoken girls. Happy New Year. And I'll let everyone introduce themselves, trans women. I'm joined with a nice set of opinionated. Headphones, please. Fox, you're on trial basis.
Trial basis. Okay.
Hi,
I think
everybody.
that's
Introduce yourselves,
very
please.
fun.
So we'll get started with our topic. Our topic is, does realness matter in 2019? So I'll let each girl introduce themselves and we'll begin.
I guess I'll start. Basically, I'm Fox Giselle Jackson, problematic realist, and I am on a probation period from, um, yeah, on the channel that I helped start. I don't know how that works, but yes, that's
Yeah.
me. Oh, and are trans the question you asked are trans been replaced? Yes, I do think so. I think it's out with the soft and in with the whatever. Yeah, yesterday's trans woman is now today's bearded lady, and now behavior and androgynous is now taking on an identity as a gender. So yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sharon. I'm here from Philadelphia.
Hey, I'm Gigi. I'm here from Chicago.
Hey everyone, I am Sasha from Toronto. And I just want to put my 2 cents in this conversation.
All right, great. Yeah, we definitely got yeah, we're very international right now. Shout out to Kuchonga. She couldn't make it. She's having difficulties. Google, get it together. So a lot of the I keep hearing an echo. Oh girl. Who is that? So a lot of the shade in the community centers around how we look and how we see each other. So I wanted to have a conversation with you girls about realness. And in this age right now, do you girls feel that achieving realness doesn't matter? Does realness matter in general? You know, because a lot of girls are trying to reach this look that some people feel it's not even like at this point, it's not worth obtaining because there are people who are less real or less what we call clocky that are living more better lives or more safer lives. And I want to know, what do you girls think about this? Does realness matter?
Well, to
Okay.
me, I feel like realness matter to a certain extent, and realness matter until you get clock.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it comes with a privilege, but once you get clock, you are now looked up as the bearded lady, as the woman with the dick, or you're gonna be looked up as a dude. So does realness matter? Yes, it does. If you want no one to know your business, but nowadays it's 2018, and people who are in the closet with their transness, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. It matters when you want to get a job and you don't want to be discriminated. But then there's lots of jobs that the law is going to protect you in the sense of where you live and what state you are and what country you are. But realness does matter if you're not living in a free country like America or the UK or Canada. But if you live around the world and you have to put your realness, you have to demonstrate realness because realness is safety. In America, realness may not be safety, but around the world, like if you're living in Jamaica and it's against the law to be trans, you have to want to be real and want to be passable because you will get killed, literally.
I definitely think realness is definitely it definitely demonstrates safety in different different parts in the United States of America, especially like urban areas like Detroit or not so much Atlanta for obvious reasons. Definitely certain areas out here in California, like Compton and things of that nature. And yes, yeah, realness is definitely something that is not only appreciated, but it's also very necessary. You know, when you're moving and navigating in these cis-normative urban spaces or so.
Yeah, I think here in Chicago too, I would like to add, like, I think realness is really important because a lot of girls out here are getting murdered. But I agree. I think it's important. I mean, as far as like, you know, living your everyday life and trying to get by, I think it is kind of important because, I mean, who wants to like go on the train or walk down the street and like be called a man all the fucking time? So it's like, I think realness 100% matters as far as like blending in. Um, yeah, so.
So do you feel like it sounds a little quiet. I feel like there's more people in here than voices I'm hearing. Hey Brianna, how you doing, girl?
Hey.
We have the wall up in the house.
I saw you there, and I was like, you just slid on up in there. What's up, sis? How you doing?
Hi, ladies. Hey,
Hi there.
So Brianna, what do you think? You feel like does realness matter in 2019? Like, is realness something that every trans woman has to achieve? A point of realness?
I definitely don't feel like every trans woman has to be real, but I do feel like we have to acknowledge passability privilege. I know in my life and in my career that I'm working on, although I don't think I'm stealth or the realest thing, I know that my level of realness allows me to access certain spaces that I know that if I wasn't as passable, that I would be, you know, shunned or shut out of those spaces. But also, I think in 2019, it's harder for like the conversation about what it means to be stealth. I think as we become more visible in the mainstream, that it's harder for folks to be stealth. But I'm also thinking about the trans women that are working and that are employed that kind of have to be stealth. And because they're navigating these spaces and they are stealth, a lot of these trans women run into issues of like sexual harassment because you have like these men on the job, and everybody knows how like aggressive men can be when they think that you're a cunt and they feel like you need to give them their number. Like, it's just so many stories that I know of girls that are stealth that they can't, you know, necessarily say who they are because it threatens their livelihood. And now we live in a day and age where even if you get fired, you can't get on Backpage or get on Craigslist in order to supplement that. So it's like it's girls that are real that have been able to get into these places, but because of the safety thing, both physically and financially, you know, they can't really. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. They can't really be themselves. But I think realness is necessary. But I think we really have to unpack like what realness means for us as like trans women of color, like in 2019 and going forward. So that's just how I feel about it at this particular point.
Can I add something onto that dialogue?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say that I think that realness is it's as much as an asset, but it's also it can be problematic sometimes because I feel that when the girls are real or anyone is real and they're in a position of power or they're in a position to change things and they say nothing or they, you know, they're stealthily sitting in their position of power, it really doesn't do anything for the next girl that is coming up or so, because
right, or girls that are real that watch transphobia and don't say nothing.
Yes,
exactly.
Well, honestly, there that has to be examined in every single situation. Because I remember years ago when I was in a car full of guys, and it was just me and 3 other guys, and we were leaving a meeting, and ironically an NA meeting that I was attending, and yeah, when you go to NA meetings or AA meetings, it's kind of like everything's the purpose is to go there to to be clean and everything. But we went down Santa Monica Boulevard, and I'm sitting in the back seat, and these guys are having a rah-rah about, oh yeah, this fucking man. I wish one of the men would hit on me, like dressed like a woman. I would fucking kill. And I had to just sit there and just like be really quiet in the back seat, and it was very uncomfortable. And it's way more uncomfortable than, times where I've gotten on the bus and, the old lady is sitting next to me, and, someone that looks like a contestant from RuPaul's Drag Race gets on the bus, and, she's talking about, damn shame. That's a completely different component. Now you're in the space of people that that if your secret was out, you could very well be on the receiving end of that hate.
But my problem is with girls who are real. Like, are you fighting for being accepted because you are a woman, or because you have a trans woman experience, or you want to live in the dark? Because that makes no sense. Like, if you're a trans woman and you are with people who are bashing other trans people, and you sit there for your safety, then it might as well just give up the fight, because at the end of the day, you're putting yourself in position when you're around homophobic people or transphobic people.
Right. And internalizing that hate.
And you're just silent. Like, you're just a bystander at this point, because if they can see how beautiful and passable you are sitting next to them, I understand the safety. Don't get me wrong. But passable girls put themselves in a position where they have to lie. Why do you have to lie? You can be the baddest chick and be a trans woman. So I don't understand the whole I'm gonna sit there and be a bystander. I think that's a detrimental to the trans community. Even though you're fighting for yourself, but you're also fighting for other girls who is trying to live that life.
I agree.
So a couple thoughts.
I disagree.
I agree, because the girls will sit there and they will listen and laugh and they're men, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then they walk away feeling good that no one got their tea. And then they want to enforce that same transphobia on the next girl who's not as real.
Wait a second. Okay, so a couple things. One, I want to say that for me personally, and I think for everyone, their level of passability and what they want to achieve should be a personal thing, and that should come from something that is internal. So if a person thinks that if they're comfortable in their skin and they're able to navigate the world and navigate spaces in the way that they're presenting, then it's not for anyone else to judge. Now, with that being said, I agree with Brianna that when you are in certain spaces, I was just having a conversation with one of my cis girlfriends the other day, and she was like, we were having this conversation, and she was like, we were having a conversation. She told me that she saw the GameStop video, and for a lot of people, they can't respect someone that does not invest in their appearance. Now, objectively speaking, we live in a world that bases everything off of looks. We live in a very superficial society, and we all know that. So there's a couple things that needs to stop happening. We need to stop sitting here and acting like looks don't matter. And I'm not talking about being pretty. You can be well groomed. I mean, and it's not about money. But being well put together and presenting yourself well helps you in the workplace, and it helps you able to navigate certain businesses and spaces with less trouble. Now, when it comes to me personally, like I feel that for me, like every trans woman has gone through an experience in her journey where she felt unsafe in public. So let's all not act like now that we're here, we don't remember what it was like when we were there.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true.
Because we all worked very hard to get here. So, you know, cutting people a little bit of slack is really good. On the second hand, people on the other side, they need to understand that people are judging us off of how we look. And people only want to be bothered with certain girls that are real and that are passable. Because you know what? It causes a distraction in the workplace. It causes a distraction in businesses. And nobody really wants that. And that's just really the honest truth.
Okay, so wait, Sharon, what you said about how girls want to only...
Wait, I'm not done. And if you don't want to be ridiculed, then it is up to you as an individual to figure out what it is that you need to do so you're not having that kind of experience. I went through experiences like that. Now, to Fox Giselle's point and to Sasha's point, Sasha, I do agree with you. I'm a person that if you see something, you say something. However, if I was in that space that Giselle was in, that was not the time and the place to do that. If I was on a public bus, I would say something. So we have to make sure that we assess our safety and before anything else, because self-preservation is number one. But I definitely agree that if you're out and I see a girl, I will look and I will acknowledge her no matter where she is in her transition, because I know what that's like. And I want them to feel warm because I know they've been getting shit all fucking day.
Right.
And at the same time, I want them to look at me and say, you know what, one day maybe I can be there for me.
Right. So you were saying about how certain girls, you know, you feel like certain girls in a certain place, their transition should only hang out with girls that are in that same place. So like you're saying that the girls that are real should only be around realness girls. You don't think that that's inner transphobia?
What I'm saying is that let's not sit here and act like that people that share common values and commonalities hang out. And all across the board, like let's not sit here and act like we don't live in a hierarchy class system, because we do.
Yeah.
So people want to have these very and I'm an idealist, and I do believe in this. However, we live in a socially constructed world, and we have to navigate this world according to how it's already constructed. We're just doing what we can do to best navigate it best for us. And other people have to figure out how they can do it best for them.
But Sharon, there is a difference between a girl who is passable, right? But still including other girls who are not passable, other girls who are in between, other girls who are just playing with their gender, right? And then there's the extreme passable girls who shit on girls who are transitioning, who don't tell them the proper procedure, how to take the step.
Now, Sasha, I agree.
I think passable trans girl are toxic.
That's not like that is a I agree with you. That is a character trait. That is a personality trait. Right, exactly. So like one of the things that I'm always saying is that, like, you know, just because we all share a gender does not necessarily mean that everybody is a good person. Just like everyone in the world. Everyone in the world is not a great person. Everyone in the world doesn't have a good heart and a good soul. So those are very ugly fucking people to me. I know people like that. And I choose to hang around them.
I think every group, every race, every gender has like a couple of individuals that replicates the imitation of life syndrome. You know, where they're just really stealth.
But I have a question. Do you think it's possible? Like, okay, do you think it's really actually possible being stealth in 2019? I don't know. I've been like debating in my head, like, is it really possible? Because I feel like someone's always gonna know, no no matter like
Well,
what you
I
hide.
agree with
Well,
you.
there's some girls that are really good at blocking out their reality. And a lot of the girls disassociate.
It's not about, for me, it's not about blocking out my reality. It's about just the way, it's just about living my life.
But some people, but if you tell yourself that no one knows, you're feeding yourself a delusion.
But see,
someone's always gonna know.
Listen. Okay, so this is how the dysphoria works.
I need to get a pen to write these down.
Now, once you have, when you're in the beginning of a congruency, you're feeling some people are feeling very uncomfortable. I was feeling very uncomfortable. I was feeling very self-conscious. I didn't have the same type of self-image that I have now. I didn't have the same type of confidence that I have now. So I walk around confident in how I look, whether people know or whether they do not know. And furthermore, after I've already made the choice to step out onto a public platform, I already expect people to know anyway, because they can Google me or look in something and figure it out anyway. So it doesn't, but for me, the importance is, even if you know, then I want you to understand that I am not a stereotype, and I am not what your preconceived notion or your judgment. I'm going to blow all of that. So that's my mission. So I navigate life. If you know, you know, but it's very well put together.
I wanted to go back to the question. Can you be passable? Can you live self, I guess, in 2019? And I do believe you can, but it also comes down to, does your lover knows that you're trans? Does your lover know that you're trans, right? Does your employee needs to know that you're trans, right? Your close friends, do they need to know that you're trans? Or do your acquaintances need to know that you're trans? And in 2019, everybody has their right to live private, right? And I feel like with girls who are passing, who are greatly passing, and they are living a regular cisgendered life with their husband and maybe like kids or whatever, they have a hard time because they feel like, okay, I don't want to be associated with the trans community. The trans community right now is messed up. There's all different type of trans.
Associated with them. You know what, Sasha? If I could do it all over again, if I could take the last 3 years back, I would take the last 3 years back.
Yeah. And I feel like the trans community is messed up because now trans women are being eliminated from that group. Like nowadays, like for being a binary trans woman, it's like you're just not a part of, I don't feel like trans woman who's in the binary is a part of the trans community. Because if you speak about trans and any representation for any meeting, you would see a person who has beard, a person who is gender fluid, a person who does not belong in the binary group. These are the people that's getting the jobs in corporate America. These are the people who are actually working at H&M, and they're saying that they're trans. So is trans women...
What H&M is this at?
What a what?
Girl,
What?
Hold on. Let's not act like gender non-conforming people are not replacing trans women.
Exactly.
I know that.
I saw
America.
Girl, everywhere.
In the world. It's not just America.
Oh, okay. Can I? Okay. I want to
finish what I was saying first?
Sure.
What I was saying is that trans binary is replaced. Like the trans community is not a trans binary woman. You hear it on the news that binary women getting shot every day because we are taking their responsibility on. We are getting all the cruciating from the bullying and all those other stuff. But a cis woman who is assigned birth female decides to be trans, and she say, I'm gender fluid. She don't have to explain. She never has to come out. Sorry, they never have to come out, because let me use the right pronouns. They never have to come out and say they're trans to their lover, because they were assigned birth with a pussy. So they can walk around and say that they're trans, right? They can get jobs and say they're trans, but me and you know that they're not binary trans. And binary trans is what trans women are fighting for. And to say we're passable, right? We are fighting for the aesthetic of a woman. We're not fighting for other things. We're fighting for aesthetic. So we want to look and feel like a female. We want to present as a female. We want to live our life as a female. But then we're getting bombarded by other people in the trans community who are non-binary and people who are gender fluid to say, listen, that's not trans. And you need to be open. You need to be honest. And if you look at it, before all of this happened, the whole inclusion of transness, it's just not, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just like all over the place.
Like,
Yeah, the umbrella.
Can I say something?
let's just call it for what it is. That is not, I'm just going to just say it. That is not trans. That is not transsexual. That is not transsexual.
Androgynous.
Exactly. That is androgyny.
That's
And
behavior.
exactly. Exactly.
But what's happening is those people are becoming the face of trans.
And that's my problem. The problem is that they're not using the right.
And that's what started this whole topic. Does race matter? If people think that non-binary and gender non-conforming people are trans women, why are we trying to fight for this ideal look that does not exist?
Because listen here, okay? They're using the wrong language.
Yes.
Somebody co-sign this. Please help me that they're using
the wrong language because
and I'm going to tell you why. Let me tell you why the wrong language is being used. The wrong language is being used because if you are a trans person, by medical definition, that means you're uncomfortable in the gender that you were assigned at birth. So, if you're uncomfortable in the gender that you're assigned at birth, and you don't want to assign to any gender, that means you are something else. That doesn't mean that you have the desire to be the other gender. And according to the social construct, there's only two genders. So they want to be outside of that. That is a different thing. That is non-binary. So they, like I said on my live, they should have their own space. Because see, the thing is that all of these motherfuckers forget that the fucking reason we have access to medical care and health insurance and public spaces and non-discrimination is because of us, not them.
Mm.
Well, can I address the original question as far as being stealth in 2019? And I'm gonna actually start this off with what I'm seeing in the comments from the live chat that's going on. And oh yeah, you have to go to YouTube. You have to go to YouTube and go to the Tea Time Network channel. Owned, operated, produced, started, and created by.
Let me tell y'all something. Non-binary is a behavior by definition. If you go to the American Psychiatric Association's website and you look at what non-binary is, it says that it is a behavior. It does not say that it is an identity. It is a behavior, a way of acting.
But I think, Sharon, I think in this day and age, we can all agree that these hoes are not going to go anywhere because, first of all, they're not going to read anything. If they see a paragraph, they're going to already be turned off. So I think
that's part of the problem. And I'm not saying
that is the problem.
Well, exactly. That's part of the problem. And I'm not saying that everybody has the same path, the same journey, but damn it, like you can use Google for everything else. You can use Google to figure out, to find stuff and to research stuff and to get some fucking background.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, Sharon. What you were saying.
What? That's another fucking double standard because see, y'all want people to go and y'all want them to research all of the theys and the thems and all of this and the that. Well, how about y'all take some fucking time and understand where we're coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Well, going back to that original question about stealth in 2019, and Ariana from the comments, she actually said there is no stealth in this age of information. I agree with her. Because I feel that in this day and age, we have entered this era of the end of privacy.
Right.
Meaning that if you are attacked, if you are harassed, do you have video footage of that? Oh, no. Are you lying? Look at the Star Empire. He may have very well been you know, attacked and, you know, on the way to, you know, the bathhouse or something, you know, but there was no video evidence, and that is the type of era that we live in. So how does this relate to us? I feel this relates to us just because of the fact that, you know, to be a trans woman and to live stealthily. There was a once upon a time when I was coming up in the early 2000s where, you know, girls would transition and then you would see this really feminine girl at the club and then you didn't see her anymore. No, she wasn't bashed or anything like that. She basically blended into society. She got a husband and moved to Arkansas or wherever. Right. And, you know, you would never hear of her anymore. And those types of times, I don't think they're going to be coming to an end because people are going to start Googling. People are going to start, yes.
Well, the thing about it is that what bothers me about that, Giselle, is the fact that, like, you have these individuals who are like, my issue is that there's too much of our private medical business out there in the streets. That's my problem.
That's true.
My problem.
Well, there's apps where people, where everyday civilians like me and you can do personal background checks on people and get very pertinent information about people. You know, some people have $30 to do a background check and find out that this person was arrested in 2007 for soliciting for prostitution or whatever, you know. And then, you know, I'm in the Riddick boards, and I don't know if you know the Riddick, but, you know, there's forums that are dedicated to putting it all out there or finding this thing about that person or so forth.
Well, I mean, that is what a lot of people have actually done. I didn't know what this was until I was in a Facebook thread, and they have a name for us. And there's YouTube. There's YouTube videos. Like, these people are calling us true scum. That is the term that they call us.
They call us what? Sorry, I didn't.
True scum. TRUSCUM.
Sometimes they call us TERFs.
No, they're calling.
Those are females who are feminists that don't like trans women, that exclude us.
Yeah.
So a TERF is.
I know what a TERF is.
No, I'm telling Fox because she thought it was. A TERF is a cis woman who's a feminist that excludes trans women from feminism. Okay. So they exist. And they were trolling. They were trolling this channel on the last video when I interviewed Tiffany Michelle from GameStop. The TERFs came in and over 500 comments calling us all types of names. And I literally had to disable the comments.
Let me tell you something, Ashley. And I said this on my live, okay? Now you see those bitches are not over here. Those white hoes. Okay.
Well, they have to be triggered first.
And they have to know who they're going to come up against. I don't think going at someone with Sharon is going to they're going to accomplish what they're looking for. They're going to probably try to go for someone that, someone like Tiffany Michelle, because Tiffany Michelle is a perfect victim for them. You know, Tiffany Michelle just recently transitioned.
Let's just bust it down right here. The whole thing about it is that these are white women who feel betrayed because they were individuals that they were married to and they had lives with that they thought were male identified, and now they're not, and they're mad about it. I mean, how would you?
But this is what I will say about TERF. These people, because I did some research about these people. These people really they don't go after trans girls who are passable with vagina.
I would disagree.
Focus on they talk about mutilation, yes, but their main focus is that trans girls with dicks or non-binary folks.
I've seen it, but the thing is, I've seen it though in person where a TERF literally yelled at a post-op trans woman. So I don't know if it's 100% true because
they do attack them, but their main topics is trans girls with dicks using the bathroom, using the locker rooms,
and they use
spaces. If you have a pussy, their only argument is you're mutilated. That's the only argument.
Well, no, I would like to say that they like to use situations that will probably never or very rarely happen. Like, well, what happens when one of these transgendered women are housed with women?
I don't want to, see, I'm always, we have to do this. I have to do this. We have to draw these lines and these distinctions. And I said this on my live the other day. That the girls of color have the same type of experience as they. Now, don't get me wrong. There are, some, non girls of color that I know who've had similar experiences as us. I'm not saying that. But the large majority of other girls that are not of color, okay, they have a very different experience than we do.
True, 110%. Because sorry, I just want to bump off that. Like, you're right, because I know a girl that I know a couple girls that are not of color, and like they live lives that are like they move away.
You have to talk louder.
Sorry, they move away and like bumblefuck somewhere, and then like they live stealth. And one girl that I do know who did experience that, she moved to like, I think it was, oh my God, I don't even remember. It was one of like somewhere on the East Coast, I believe. But she got clocked by someone that like knew her from her past, and that was even before information, like Google. Like, it was in person. Like, she told me it was like at a Starbucks or something. It was someone she went to high school with. So I agree. It's a different experience.
My whole thing with the TERFs, I don't understand them. It's like you cannot be a feminist and then exclude trans women. It makes no sense. But their argument is they want to be more than. Everything is, we're not our body parts, but then they use body parts to say that we don't belong in their movement. I don't understand. Fuck all TERFs.
Well, they feel that the male
you want to be more than a baby incubator, but then you use the fact that you have a uterus to say that we're not real women. Trans women are women. That's it.
But Ashley, this is what I wanted to say about that too as well, is that these cis women are fighting for women's right? And you have to understand, some trans women, when they transition for wrong reasons. And before, in the 60s and the 70s, when trans women were transitioning, they transitioned literally, and they did their sex reassignment surgery. Now in the 21st century, trans women don't believe that you don't need to do the full surgery. You don't need to go through all that. You can still be a woman and walk around with beard. You can still be a woman and still.
Yeah, if I say I'm a woman, I'm a woman.
No, I'm not saying that you have that you can be a woman.
Yeah, but there is trans women that aesthetically look like a man. And society said it's okay to look like a man. So then these cis women are saying it's not fair for us cis women fighting for a woman's right, and then here comes this trans woman who aesthetically look like a man. Like, this person is not working on transitioning. This person is not working on anything. They're still presenting as male. So that's somewhat contradicting. If you are a cis woman, it's confusing.
Exactly, Sasha, and that becomes the larger issue, and then they use that, and then they apply it all across the board. And it's like,
well, I think that sends a message. So there are people who are in between. There are people who are newly transitioning, and I think for us to co-sign that we shouldn't recognize the girls that are just starting out as
nobody said that. Nobody said not.
Nobody said that.
No one said that.
Ashley, aesthetically, you are walking around, right? You don't want to put on any feminine garment. You don't want to present as a woman, right? And we know woman is a social construct, so we know what woman brings. So we're not going to sit here and be like, this is Becky. Becky is showing up with literally 5 o'clock shadow, wearing man H&M clothes, and coming into trans woman space and said, I'm a woman.
This is what I want to say.
And then
this is what I say. But let me say this. If someone tells me, if someone is presenting in my eyes as male, but they tell me that they feel that they are a woman and they want to be identified as a woman, I respect that. I'm not going to judge you and say, Miss Thing, you need to get laser. Miss Thing, I'm not going to enforce all the things that I was told.
But at least
starting out. I could give you advice, but I'm not going to tell you that you're not a woman yet.
I have to push back on you. I have to push
Because
back.
there's different types of transitions. There's a soul transition, and there's a medical transition, and then there's a physical transition. There's different types of transitioning. There's different types of transition.
That's where everyone has it wrong. There's only one.
Thank you, Bible.
Yeah,
so I agree with
Sharon.
I just hate when
so there's only one. So you're saying that there's only one. How is there only one transition? There's girls that transition visually, and they're not transition mentally. There's different types of transitioning.
There's only one, and let me be clear, okay? Now, if that particular individual feels that they're comfortable with that, that is fine. But then that individual has to face the rest of society, and if society aesthetically, like Sasha said, does not see what you feel on the inside, whatever, then you're going to have a lot of issues. So be prepared to deal with those issues, is all I'm saying.
Right, I agree. And I agree that we have to have more compassion to the girls that are either in between transitioning or beginning. That's something that we don't have. We just give them this, well, girl, you got to get it together. Some people are at a stage. What I'm saying is that there are steps to transitioning to fully transition. Some people are not in.
Girls on my Facebook page right now that aren't where they want to be, but they all have already an image of what they think that they need, and I support that. I don't go out here and be like, oh, girl, you need to do this. I don't critique anyone. I'm too busy worried about my life and living my own life. But if there are younger girls who come to me and they're early in their transition and they have a plan and a vision for the things that they want to do, we're not talking about those because, like I said earlier, we've all been in a period where we were just starting out.
I just
hold on one second. There's 30 people watching. Can y'all all give us a like before the TERFs come?
Right.
And I want to say what I'm trying to say is, okay, you said there's only one form of transitioning. What I'm saying is that there are different things that have to come together, that have to align to fully transition and live in your full womanhood. I think that you can't just tell someone they have to start looking the part when they don't feel the part or when they're not mentally, like you can mentally say,
why say you're trans if you don't want to look the part?
Gender dysphoria, honey.
Yeah, I think
too many people are taking.
But I'm saying no. I think that you. Okay, let me say what I was trying to say in a better way. What I'm saying is that it all starts with feel. I just messed up. It all starts with feeling. I think the internal. Yeah, I think it starts with feeling.
It started in
having the feeling.
Can I say this?
Yeah, it starts in the mind, exactly, and then you can start. So it's different different forms of transitioning, and they all have to align.
Let me tell you.
I'll let y'all talk.
The brain.
I feel like I'm cornered.
I just want to talk.
No, I agree with you.
No, babe. Listen. Listen seriously. Like in all seriousness, it's psychological. It is it's in the mind. It's in the brain. So, and the brain also controls feeling. So what I'm saying is that for like anything that like for me, anything that I could do when I was early on to make myself feel more comfortable in my femininity, I made an attempt to do that. And then the further along, then more things came. And I think that is, very similar for everyone. I mean, you have had experience, like you yourself, I've been on the show before and, you share a lot of stuff. every single woman on this panel right now, okay, has gotten to a point where they're comfortable in how they look and how they feel about themselves. You know, it's not, you know, we all have our shit, but you know what I mean, just generally.
I just want to jump back. Did someone want to go before me?
Yeah, I wanted to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I agree with some feminists, and I've had like a lot of opposition, and I've
wait. You agree with the feminists or the TERFs?
Some.
Which one? The TERFs or the feminists?
Feminists.
Because you have to distinguish the difference.
I said
all
feminists.
Okay, it's all the same shit.
Okay, I agree with some feminists. And even I've gotten flack from this, like back in the time when we did Tea Time with the girls, and we had the feminist Lena Dominguez on there. And
no, wait, hold on, Fox. Wait. I explained to you that TERFs are feminist, but they're you're saying you agree with feminists. You mean you agree with TERFs?
Some.
Yeah, you agree with some TERFs. You mean?
I don't want to label it from TERFs.
That's what they are. They're TERFs. They exclude trans women from the movement of feminism. TERFs are feminists. They just don't fuck with us.
Let me say something, okay?
Oh my God.
Feminism is a white woman thing. And
okay. We're not going there.
No, so nobody should want to be. So, you know, if you got pigment in your complexion, feminism should not be something that you might want to follow.
Well, can I finish this statement?
Please.
Okay, yes. I've been doing some extensive research on this. And I read this book called Gender Hurts about a year ago by Sheila Jeffries. And what I took from that is that feminism is a movement to liberate women from patriarchy. And they want to stand up for the rights of not having women being erased from history, because they feel like, okay, they don't believe that men can become women by feeling like women, and they don't condone the erasure of females in female-only spaces in the silence of like critical thinking, denial of biological reality, and sex-based oppression. So by saying things like that, I can understand. And that is where I have a belief system, because I do believe that it is okay for females to have their spaces, just like it's okay for trans women to have our spaces. Yeah. I feel that the problem comes in is, and this is one of the many reasons why I've decided to leave this channel, because I came up and I said to myself, my ideology does not fit with this. And this is something that I've talked to Ashley about over and over. I do not believe trans women are women, period. I believe that trans women are a certain type of women. But when you say trans women are women, period, then it sends out the message. And then the girls like the Tiffany Michelle's, God bless her, are the girls that are Fred on Monday and decides that, hey, I want to transition. I'm a woman too. And you're a woman on Wednesday, and you go into a woman's restroom and you're told that you don't belong here. But no, I'm a woman, goddammit. Janet Mock says I'm a woman. Ashley Breed from the Tea Time Network says I'm a woman because I'm a trans woman.
No. You mean the trans umbrella got them thinking that they could do that? It's not just the saying itself, trans women are women, period. That's not making them do that. It's the trans umbrella, including all of these different people. Oh, gender non-conforming, you're trans. Drag queen, you're trans.
This goes back to what I was saying before about the correct use of language, because there are trans men, transsexual men, transsexual women. Period, point blank, the end. Okay. I
wanted to
go ahead, Sasha.
The thing that I wanted to focus on when Giselle was saying like trans women are not women and there's some different type of women, I feel like that's very problematic. Because if we're saying woman is a social construct, right? And we're saying female is a sign of birth. So basically, your sexual organ is based on if you're female or male or intersex, right? So if we as trans women are going around and telling society that we're not women, then that means we're imposters and we're just pretending.
Hold on, Sasha.
Okay, let me clarify something. Okay, so Sasha, I see where your position is. So what I do to counter that, not your position specifically, because I know you're, but I know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So my position for that is see, this is why I used a biological model, and I talk about
not what you were saying, what Giselle was saying. Giselle was saying
right. So
not women.
Right. So pushing back on Giselle, just piggybacking on what you're saying to push
Yeah.
back on Giselle. I personally believe that gender dysphoria is a very real thing. Transsexualism is a very real thing. It's been medically documented, and well, I'm just going to call it for what it is. Like, in my view, it's a birth defect that starts in the brain. So I do agree that we're born women. We're just born women in a very different way than women who are born with, our vaginas didn't come out because of a neural connection in our head.
Right.
But no one's born women. We're born either male or female.
We
grow into womanhood.
Giselle, what you're not taking into account, variation. You're not taking into account like people who may be born with like a birth defect. I see it as, a birth defect. Just like people who are born, maybe deaf, it's similar to that. People who are born intersex. If you can have people who are born with ambiguous genitalia, you can use a penis or vagina. You can certainly have transsexualism or neural connections in the brain during fetal development don't connect properly. Hence, that is what the treatment is. So in early childhood development, you don't necessarily know that when you first have a baby. Just like with everything else, you may not know that your child has a developmental issue or that they're extremely gifted until that child starts to develop. Once the child starts to develop, that's when the signs of gender dysphoria come along, because then they're saying that I'm a girl and they don't understand why they're, being misgendered.
Well, isn't it true that we're all when we're
all
born?
Yes, exactly.
We're all like female, and then it develops into. We develop into. I'm trying to figure out, because I know I've heard this before, that like when it's just a fetus, it's just like one particular gender. It starts off as female, and then if it's going to be male, it converts over to something else.
No, everything starts off as a fetus, and then you have a vagina. It's curved in as a vagina. Everyone have XS chromosome and XY chromosome, and there's mix up in, as what Sharon was saying, there's mix up in the birth defect. But people do not want to accept the fact that you can see intersex private part, but you cannot see the mind of a trans woman when they were born.
Exactly.
That's the problem there.
And that's what you have to understand as a trans woman. Not every trans woman is born trans. I believe that there's some trans women that just like to look like a feminine person.
That's
there is some trans women who like to look like a woman because they want.
That is not the same. That is not the same.
Can I get a problem? What I'm saying is there is trans women who are corely born trans and they can't do anything about it. And then there's trans women who just do it for aesthetic reason. And then there's trans women who just wants to do it because they want men. That's different.
And Sasha, what you're saying,
who you are, because you cannot walk around as someone that people look up to in the trans community and say trans women are not women. That's problematic.
I said trans women are not women, period.
You cannot say that. That's very problematic.
It's problematic when we
love you, girl.
I love you too, but I feel like that's a part of the problem, that when we say we are women, period, because we
are.
Well, we're not women. We're not women, period.
You are not women.
Yes, we are. What Tasha's saying is true. Fox, it is very problematic for you to say this and have people following you because you're telling them, well, then I'm not a woman, period.
And then when they see,
it doesn't matter if you had the period or not.
Woman.
They're women.
They're women, period. The reason why we have trans in front of trans woman is because people say we need to come out of the fucking closet and be who we are. Trans women never said they're trans women in the 60s. They say they're women.
Thank you.
In the 70s and 80s, they say they're fucking women. So let's start to put our mind back to ground zero. Because if a cis woman and a cis man who is transphobic listen to this conversation and hear a trans woman say trans women are just some other type of woman, then it's okay because I get to blow your brains out because you're not really a woman. You're just a different type of woman.
Can I just go back to like what you said about like and like trans women like being
I can't hear you.
Sorry, I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Can we go
A
back
bomb
to
was dropped.
Go
ahead.
Sasha, I agree with you because I've met girls personally that I either connect with and I can connect with them on a level where it's like, okay, like I see you, you see me, this is who you really are. And then I've met some girls
It's 8 o'clock.
More of a superficial thing where it's like I would hang out with them and then all they wanted to do was like either like get very, very glammed up, which is fine, but like only like post stuff on Facebook or like it's like Instagram or just like doing it for like attention or likes. And that's why I have a hard time meeting a lot of girls because sometimes I can't connect with them in a way that's not superficial. I feel like sometimes it becomes so superficial.
Because they're not two transsexuals, honey, and you can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying like the difference. Like I can totally tell. I feel like in a matter of like how many times, like 2 times we hang out, if like I feel like you are genuinely like this is who you are. And there's a lot of girls in the community that are like that, and we don't really admit to it.
I agree. I agree, Gigi. I think that there's girls who are situational trans. There's girls who they were not attractive as males, so they figured, let me transition and now get attention because I was ignored as a boy and I never fit in, and people look past me. And now I'm going to transition into a woman, and hopefully now people will pay attention to me. That's true. These are and when you say things, Fox, like trans women are not women, they're another kind of woman, it would make people think that that's how you feel about yourself and other trans women, that they're not women.
And I wanted to
can I okay, sure, go ahead, okay. I'm gonna take this from I just want to get everyone's reaction to this little passage out of this. Okay, this is taken from
a white woman.
Hey, stop reading TERF.
Listen, panel. Let her read that, and I'm gonna get her after.
Okay. This is taken from Sheila Jeffries' Gender Hurts. Okay. Women do not decide at some point in adulthood that they would like other people to understand them to be women, because being a woman is not an identity. She put in quotations. Women's experiences does not resemble that of men who adopt the gender identity of being female or being women in any respect. The idea of gender identity, she puts in quotations again, disappears. Biology and all the experiences that those female biology have been reared in a caste system based on sex.
Okay, so are you done?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it seems as though that what you're reading from is using a very biological argument.
Mm-hmm.
Because women are basing their position off of their biology, right?
Mm-hmm. And they seem that we're basing ours off of sex.
So let's be very clear. Mm-hmm. So when we go back to the neuroconnections in the brain and we go back to early fetal development, when there's a flood of estrogen in the womb, so those neuroconnections don't connect the way that they're supposed to. And then once the child is born and the child starts to develop around 4 or 5 years old, that's generally when a child actually starts to speak and words start coming out of their mouths. They can start to articulate to you how they're thinking and they're feeling. At that particular point, what is suggested by the American Psychiatric Association and the World Professional Association of Transgender Health is that that child should start going to see a therapist, and that child should see the therapist and then have an evaluation done. And if it is determined based off of a standard of attributes, that child was deemed to have gender identity dysphoria. That is, in fact, a biological basis for the argument that we are women, we're just born with a medical condition. Like there are some women that are born with no uteruses. Like there are some women who are born with crooked vaginas. So there is a plethora of issues that women who are born with congruent, because see, the distinction is that what we need to start using is the right language. It's called gender congruency. What we're doing is that we are having mind-body congruency. We are medical science and the medical industry has made it so that this is a very treatable condition. So like there are other women who are born with conditions. We are women born with conditions.
Is that the cat?
That was my babe.
I would like to read a passage from Redefining Realness.
Okay.
It's like I was kicking and I just wanted to see the response.
Brianna, are you trolling us?
I just want to say, Sharon, I love you. You are the Bible of trans women, girl.
Yeah, I thank you for that, Sharon. That was a great way of breaking it down. And Sharon,
I don't always agree with her delivery, but I do, respect what she said.
And I can even go a little bit further because a lot of people only go to post-op and pre-op transsexuals. But if you go a little deeper, you'll find out that there's androphiliac transsexuals, which we are, and you'll find out there's autogoniac philiac transsexuals. Those are individuals who it is a sexual thing. Those are the ones that they're talking about in that book. That is very distinct from us.
We have to have those kind of conversations.
Yes,
I agree. Because
that's what the TERFs base everything on. We need to talk. That's what the TERFs and those people are.
I already took on motherfucking Kimberly Bronsworth when she brought her ass here to Philly.
Yes.
Question: who is going to the Trans Equality March? And
I would like to go. I would
love to go, but where is it?
It's going to be in DC.
Do you have a place for me to stay at? Just joking.
No, I don't.
Question.
Well, no, I know they're doing like bus trips and stuff down there. They were going to have it on the 31st and April 1st, but the girls started complaining like, why would you have the march on April Fool's Day, bitch?
Yeah.
So I think they're going to move the march to like the 31st, that Sunday, which is also the Transgender Day of International Transgender Day of Visibility. But
I think that's a great day to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Miss Thing, I can't.
I would love. You know what? I think I would love to get a group of girls to go, and we could vlog. Yeah, we could vlog the experience and upload it to the channel.
Yeah, and we can probably chip in on like spaces.
Well, honey, that's on the reality show.
Well, I'm pretty sure during that weekend, because does that fall? Does it Transgender Disability Day? Does that fall on a Sunday or Saturday this year?
A Saturday.
No, it's on a Sunday. The 31st is a Sunday.
Really? Okay. Yeah, it falls on a Sunday this year, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that'll be great for a weekend. I'm pretty sure Arrows and Adult Citrus is going to be packed in Washington D.C. But I thank Sharon for sharing that, because now I feel like that's a very aha moment. But I also feel that that's also connected to the fact that we are in a society that we believe what we can see, and what you just broke down, Sharon, is great. But I don't think that's the part of the transgender that's not getting the attention. Because I think most people, their perception of what transgender is that, we just wake up one day and say, hey, life is too hard for me for a guy, so I'm going to be a woman.
That is for some case.
I think there's some girls that are like that though.
There's some
because
girls are like that.
But I think the
Yeah.
general,
I see girls.
There are a lot of gay men that are like that.
Like that. Yeah.
Let's be honest.
And then every throwback Thursday, they have it's their before and after picture of like when I was a boy and then now I'm a girl, and it's always like every week when they're posting it, which is like I'm fine. Like, okay, I feel like, you know, great, you're validating your transition, but like when it becomes like a habit, in my opinion, I'm just like, okay, are you just doing this for?
So when you say that they're getting the most attention, though,
I think so. I think the girls that like, well, okay, I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't think that it's anything wrong appreciating the road that you've come, like appreciating your, you know, accomplishments of what you used to look like to what you look like now.
Yeah,
but if someone is still looking male, or if they're still presenting male, then you know that they really are not transitioning.
Well,
I feel like some girls do that for
every
clickbait,
day.
though.
It's kind of
My question is, does that make people like that? See, the thing about it is because, and this is going to the medical industry, because we're in this age and you can pretty much just pay to have the doctor do whatever procedure that you want and follow some sort of script, because the medical industry has realized that they can make a lot of money. So this is why
that's a part of the microwave. That's a part of the microwave culture.
Exactly. This is why you have people who are not who haven't saw therapists, who haven't been properly diagnosed. And when you have that, this ends up being the result of that. It's all
they're making money off of it.
And it's all very damaging. And you know, it's a shame that like it's nothing. There needs to be lines that have to be drawn. These lines are not drawn.
All right, Sharon. Sharon, you coming to the march?
Listen, if these lines
are you coming to the march, the trans march, to draw that line, girl?
No, I am not coming out there.
I mean, like, I don't mind it. I just feel like it's one of those things where it's like, if you're doing it habitually, I kind of question, like, okay, why are you doing this so much? Like, I don't know.
Well, I do agree with Brianna. There is clickbait a part of that.
They don't suffer from dysphoria because that would make one dysphoric. Okay,
Right,
that's one of the causes of dysphoria. Exactly, and they're doing it for the shock and awe value. And
no. I don't agree with that. I believe that there are different forms of dysphoria. Some girls, there's certain things that trigger their dysphoria. Looking at photos of them as their male presenting self, to some people it may trigger them. To some people it may make them feel better about their transition, that they went from that to who they are now. So I think that I don't believe that it's the girls that acknowledge their boy pictures or their male presenting self is, you know, people who don't have dysphoria. I think there's different levels of dysphoria and different things that trigger it.
And we have to understand that aesthetic is just aesthetic. So if someone was living in a forced life as a male and they were very masculine, it's just aesthetic. It's not. It doesn't really affect your transness. But there is some DL trans
women. To be having these conversations.
There is some DL trans women out there that who are living a DL life as a trans woman, and they use their transition picture to kind of like show the gay boys or the trades, like or whoever's looking at the pictures, like, oh, look at
let me tell you really quick. I don't want to interrupt you, baby, but let me tell you something. No, they're showing that picture to let us know that we can do it too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could see it that way too sometimes.
But those are DL trans women because they're not out to their family, they're not out to their close people. They're just out to the gay world and to guys who they fuck. Because if you notice, there's DL trans man and there's DL trans woman, and we never talk about DL trans women. There's drag queens who are DL, pretend to be trans to get some dick, to get some money, to post some ads.
Well, I'm a DL. I am a DL gay man because there's been plenty of times that.
God. No, so you take off your wigs and you take off your bra, your breasts, take off your hips. And you take off your feminization because you paid a lot of money.
Sasha,
it is called reverse drag.
Yeah, Sasha, I want everyone to let Fox explain herself.
Yeah,
so they can understand.
it is called reverse drag. Because I've reached a part of my transition to where, you know, I am two-spirited. And, you know, there's times on Grindr that I'll see a guy that I like and, oh my God, he's so hot. And then masculine only, masculine only, masculine only. And then I got this bright idea that, you know what?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Okay. Sharon, let Fox speak. Let Fox
and take these breasts up. And
Sharon, please, let Fox speak.
Yeah, and I've done that because to me, I feel that I am a two-spirited person. I feel that gender is fluid with me. I'm just speaking for me. And yes, it's worked sometimes and sometimes it hasn't worked. So yeah, because hey, if the guys can do it and they can get up in a wig and get trade, you know, why can't we take a wig off and get their trade?
Well, because you know what? When you take your wig off, you're still a woman.
It depends on who you're asking.
Whether you put on a baseball cap.
Well, Sharon, some girls can reverse drag and they could present as male.
There is no, like, once you are surged, there is no.
That's not true. That's not true.
Because I started realizing
that's not true because I saw the photos of Fox when she presents as male recently, and it's convincing, especially in the dark.
It's all about transgender writing.
In the dark.
Can I say something about two-spirited? I feel like okay, because I have a lot of indigenous friends, and indigenous people, they get culture appropriated a lot by a lot of people. And Giselle, you cannot say you're two-spirited because you're not indigenous. You're a Black African. So indigenous people does not mean you one day are boy, one day you're woman. That's not what two-spirited mean, and that's very insulting to the indigenous.
No,
community.
I've been saying I'm two-spirited.
You said you're two-spirited.
Yeah, because I embrace both male and female.
No, but that's not what two-spirited means. And that's what you have to do. You have to do your homework on what two-spirited means.
I've done my homework on two-spirited. I've been reading books.
Then that means if you did your homework, you should know that as a Black African person, you cannot identify as a two-spirited person.
I'm not a Black African person because there's.
Are you indigenous? Is it the indigenous people in your family?
Are we policing? Are we policing race?
No, because I'm not policing race. I'm just
I'm saying that I don't know if there's a.
You can't walk around and say you are indigenous when you don't have indigenous in your roots.
Can I say?
How do you know that I don't have that in my roots?
Because you would have known what you're saying. You would have identified as two-spirited from day one, and this is now day 20.
I've identified as two-spirited back in 2010 when I released my second album, Boy, Girl, Whatever. That was basically me saying I am two-spirited.
So listen, with the whole
my definition of two-spirited may be different than someone else's.
Outside of the cultural context, which I totally agree with. I'm not saying anything against you, Fox. I totally agree with Sasha, because it's a cultural thing, and ultimately, and to Fox's point, women and men have both testosterone and both have estrogen. So both men and both human beings, period, possess feminine and masculine energy. There's your two spirits.
So, in fact, we're all two-spirited then.
Well, you can't be because it's not your culture.
It's cultural. It's the distinction.
It's a cultural thing. Just like if you don't want a white woman to say she has the culture of something like culture appropriation. That's just what you're doing. You're culture appropriating something because it sounds good in your head. You feel like you can take it from the indigenous people and say, yes, this is what I am, but that's not what you are because that's not your culture.
Just like what my culture is, though.
Non-binary folks decide, oh, I'm trans woman. I'm a trans person now because therefore, you know what? They relate to me. We have a gender problem. So now we're the same. And no, we're not. You're culture appropriating trans women if you're non-binary folks walking around saying you're trans. So
see, I think this is the problem that a lot of cisgender people have with us because we basically get on our pedestal and we tell people that, oh, you can't do this. And you know, I'm being patrolled by the gender police right now. I think it's just
We're not using the right word. We're not using the what did Sharon say? We're not using the right terms. That's what it is.
Right. You have everything has masculine and feminine energy. So sometimes your energy is more masculine, Fox, and sometimes it's more feminine.
Yeah, exactly. And I identify that it's two-spirited.
You cannot say two-spirited.
Well, because I'm gonna explain to you why. Because
I have Blackfoot Indian in my blood. I have there's this I'm serious. I basically took a test from Ancestry.com, and I have a little bit of Polish, Cherokee Indian.
I thought you Alabama girl.
Honey, I'm telling you, I'm being serious here. There's this old tale, and there's this myth in my family that we are descendants of Andrew Jackson, because he used to go into the back house and mess around with the black slaves sometimes. So all this is very possible. So we're all like one big melting pot. And if you compare like an African like Lupita or Akon next to someone that is African American, there's a distinctive difference.
Right, no, she is not African American. Okay, she is from Ghana.
No. I said if you compare an African American, like myself, an African American to an African,
But I thought you were indigenous.
Okay, let me see if I can explain this. When I came out as trans, and I have been told this many times before, this is why I say certain things when I am being cornered in the corner against the blacks, and I think other blacks.
But you're not being cornered by the blacks. We're not trying to.
No. I'm not talking about this situation. I'm not talking about this situation.
You just said that you're being cornered by the blacks. How are we cornering you?
No, I'm talking in general. Okay, when I'm being cornered and by the baboons, by the blacks.
Wait, hold on. Wait, by the baboons.
No, in certain spaces.
That is so racial.
One of the things that they have told me, and I've heard this many
times.
Girl,
you're reading these white feminist books and acting funny.
No. Didn't I tell you about that white feminism?
Go ahead.
So one of the things that I have been told by two people are that you are an embarrassment to the race because you were put here by the white man to weaken the black man.
Oh yeah, I heard that too. That's actually
See? Mm-hmm.
That's a common thing. I heard that from black cis women.
I don't know.
That's what a lot of black cis males say, that like the woke community.
Right.
And look who their leader is, African Bambaataa, who was molesting little boys.
But Giselle, this is what I wanted to say to you. I wanted to say to you, like, I'm Jamaican, right? And I have culture, meaning I have certain things that I do in my culture. So I the way I cook, the way I carry myself, the way I show up in the world, right? That's just
you live in New York or LA?
No, in Canada.
Toronto, Canada, yeah. Okay. So basically, anywhere I go in the world, my culture is always going to be with me, right? So if you, my friend, come into my space, you're going to maybe adapt some of my cultures. But you're not gonna come in my culture and just culture appropriate and take all my culture and say, this is my culture now, and this is what it's gonna be. And because I decide to show up this way, and no, it doesn't work that way. Because that's what the problem lies with Black people. We are the most culture appropriator, but then we don't want no one to culture appropriate our shits. You have to understand. I understand that you said that your grandfather is indigenous. I understand that. But at the same time, two-spirited does not mean male or female. Sharon has said it before. Two-spirited just mean an energy of male, of masculinity and femininity. It does not mean gender. It just means your energy is different. And you are explaining it as like, I'm a boy, so I want the boys to see me as a boy, and I want to get dicks. You're doing it for the wrong reason.
No.
Dicks. You cannot say you are a boy because you want to bust a nut.
Only one aspect of it. Honey, I take on male and female like qualities. the fact that I have been able to get up and leave my house at the age of 17, go cross country, you know, but the fact that I've been able to work on my car and just
but you had a hard life.
Tire and things of that nature. Those are very masculine qualities that I
not really. There's women that
car is a masculine quality, but
the fact that I have been able to cancel some of these trans attracted men that having problems with their girlfriends and everything, and tell them what to do, because of the fact that I definitely feel that I exhibit both the male and the female spirit. You know, I can't just be all. I get this all the time that I'm too aggressive to be a woman, but I'm too feminine to be a guy.
Now you're policing women.
Let's be clear. There are.
I don't have no police hat on.
Yes, you do.
Listen, I just would like to make a statement. So, like,
I have handcuffs, though.
There are, like I said before, there's masculine and feminine energies, and there are things that have been, traditionally determined as, a man does that. There's nothing wrong with a woman who got a flat tire who knows how to change her flat tire.
Thank you.
Or she wants to grab a hammer and hang up some pictures in her house. She can do that. If she wants to sit with her legs open, those behaviors don't determine a person's gender in that particular way. A girl can wear a baseball cap and some jeans if she wants, and and a big old t-shirt. She's still a girl.
Still.
So basically, E.J. Johnson can go to the woman seminar and speak for women and say, "I'm a woman." Period.
E.J. Johnson.
If he identifies as trans.
Let's be clear. E.J. Johnson is making a fashion statement about gender, a social statement about gender. That is not the same.
Giselle, are you a trans woman?
I don't think I identify as a trans woman. I think I identify as a two-spirited person.
Okay, so you don't identify as a trans woman, right? And this is my problem. This is why this conversation is problematic for you, because you're in a space with trans women and you're dealing with, and you want to deal with trans woman issue. And that's what that's what I'm assigned to. Let me finish.
Well, this is the reason why she's not a part of the network the way she used to be, because
but let me finish. What I'm saying to you is that Giselle says, I do not identify as a trans woman, right? And then you have a group of women, right, who are trans women, and they said, this is my issues, right? But aesthetically, you still show up as a woman. You still have breasts. You still have hips. You
have a penis.
Wait. You still shows up with a bead face and a wig on, right? You said that.
Well, depending on whose house I'm showing up as, I may.
Okay, wait. Let me just say. You're right now. You're in a trans woman space, and your pictures are showing that you look like a woman. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is that this is where the problem lies.
Into a woman most of the time. But
you have to let me finish, because I let you finish speaking.
Yes, officer.
I'm not trying to police you, but what I'm trying to say to you is that you're in a space with trans women, right? And you are fighting against what we're saying as trans women and say, this is our issues in our community. And you cannot identify with our issues because you're not a trans woman, right? So therefore, when we say something, you're going to find it very offensive because you're not a trans woman. And that's the problem with trans women, is because there's people out there that dress like us, look like us, and want to get our jobs, want to have sex with the man who actually find us attractive. And then guess what? We are now left, the trans woman who actually feels, I'm not talking about trans women who identify, the ones that feels like they are actually a woman, right? And then here Giselle comes, because she's going to feel like, oh, you know what? I'm not getting no man today as a trans woman, so guess what? I'm going to go try the gay boys. And it's like, the people that comes in your present, they're gonna think that we as a trans woman who actually feels like a woman is a joke, because you're gonna go to them and be like, I'm not really a woman, but yeah, I'm just there. And that's the problem. That's what space is. I cannot go in a space with trans women, with cis women, and talk about pregnancy because I cannot give birth. That conversation would not make sense to me. But I can actually sit in a cis woman space, talk about women and motherhood, because I can actually be a mother and be a mother. So what I'm saying to you is that you as a person who is I'm not even gonna call you two-spirited. You are a person who
I
feels
think
you are male and
maybe you're non-binary. I think that's better than two-spirited.
Exactly. I'm not gonna. I would never call you
this is the thing.
a two-spirited person ever.
This is the thing. This is where the confusion comes in at, is because, like Sasha said, aesthetically, you are presenting as a woman of trans experience. And if that is not, in fact, your experience or how you feel, or what are you doing?
I'm living my life authentically.
But do you tell the man that you're sleeping with who likes you, the trans woman, that you are not a trans woman?
Depending on what site I'm meeting them from, you have to adapt to each site. You have to adapt to each space. You have to be able to navigate to the space that you're in. You can't.
And that's why you cannot speak for trans women. You speaking for trans women.
I don't speak for any trans women.
Yes, you said trans women are not women. You spoke for us.
That's a statement.
You cannot speak for trans women, period. You're not trans.
Women speak for trans women. Gay men speak for trans women.
And they shouldn't.
Sasha,
trans women don't even speak for trans women unless it's something.
Because we have people like you who are not trans.
Sasha, let me give you a break really quick. So, Fox.
Yeah.
So you made the choice to aesthetically look a certain way.
Yes.
And so what pronouns do you use?
Oh, I use she. I don't like the they or them.
So,
I mean, yeah, I do use she. Yes. However,
when you're out,
can I say this? Those are the pronouns that I prefer. However, I have been in spaces where people, especially down south, people will know who I am and they will use he. I've been on the phone and he or whatever, and I just learned to just go with the flow.
So with that being said, you don't necessarily make a big deal out of it. However, you would prefer to be called female pronouns.
Yes.
So the fact that you would prefer to be called female pronouns, and the fact that your name is very feminine, Fox Giselle, and given the fact that aesthetically you present to the world in one fashion, do you see where there is a gap in understanding with us not feeling like, us not seeing you as a trans woman, because that is, how you're presenting and how you choose to use, female pronouns. It's just that you don't make a big deal out of it. If we say in the community, if you get clocked or someone spooks you, it may not bother you to the same degree that it bothers someone else, but you prefer to be in, women's spaces. Is that safe to say?
No, that's not safe to say. Okay. There's certainly I would love to be in some men's spaces, but I was denied from the men's bathhouse out here. So
when you're out in public, which restroom do you prefer to use?
I use the all gender restroom.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So I just want to say,
a lot of times I use the women's restroom. I use the women's restroom out of default. And I think a lot of us can speak on the fact that how many times have we gone to a public space and we go and we see the men's restroom and the women's restroom. Someone is already using the women's restroom, but you have to do something, whether that be, number two or whatever, and you will use the men's restroom because you know what, hey.
I think that's a very situational thing.
Bitch, I'm not going into no men's restroom.
Exactly.
I think you guys are thinking about it too, literally. I mean, I look at it as a restroom.
Absolutely not.
It's a restroom.
Well, the thing about it is that these, the what you're reading from is like they are talking about individuals like yourself.
This is why I always go back to what Sharon always say. Everyone needs their space, right? And you have to understand, Giselle, like I'm not trying to attack you and I don't want to invest. I'm not trying to be an investigator because people in the comments saying that, people are in the conversation saying that I'm investigating you. I'm not. But the way you
this is a cross-examination.
The way you speak.
I'm just trying to understand.
The way you speak, you don't sound to me like you are a trans woman.
I am not. I'm a two-spirited person.
Hold on. Exactly. You're two-spirited, but you cannot be two-spirited because you're not indigenous. So what I'm trying to say to you is the fact that I'm not trying to police you, but you feel like I'm policing you because that's what they tells you in society, that these policing crap. Let's be real here.
Are they the same people that tell us?
We are talking about
people that are saying that you have to be indigenous to be two-spirited?
Wait, we are talking about just Ashley made this forum and she said she wanted to talk about trans women, binary trans women in passing, right?
Passing privilege, yes.
Yes. You are not a trans woman who is binary.
So but I do get passing privilege
in the conversation.
Because I am identified as a trans woman by default. I am identified as by default. By default.
No, it's not by default, honey.
People are going to.
No, it's not by default.
That box, though.
It's not by
default. If I decide to,
did you not pay for your surgeries?
Yes, I paid for my surgery.
So I was at default.
Okay. So I'm just explaining here. If I say I'm a female, a woman, or whatever, there's going to be a group over here that's going to say no. Oh no, that's a transsexual.
But you're listening to the wrong person. You are insecure, and that's fine.
Fox, I think that you sadly have internalized a lot of things that you have been told.
A lot.
And it's taken away from you living your full best trans life.
Yes. I just wanted to say this. I don't want her to feel bad.
I don't want you to feel attacked. This is all love.
I don't want you, Giselle.
No, I'm actually appreciative that this is about.
I've been watching your movements.
I'm just learning something new about you. I didn't know that you felt this way, and I didn't know that's how you identify.
Oh yeah,
That's why what we need to be having these conversations.
Giselle, I wanted to say that I've been watching you for so long, and I noticed that lately you've been sounding so different. And I get it. The pushback from cis people are saying that you are not real, you are fake, you are a man, and you want to maybe have a husband, kids, family, live a life, and be happy. I get that, sister, but you have to understand. You don't want. Okay, whatever. You want to be happy, right?
Yes.
You want cis people to accept you as who you are, right?
That's not going to happen. That's not going to even happen.
Okay, that's not going to happen. But guess
not
what?
In this lifetime.
You cannot. If you cannot walk around, right? Just because people don't see you how you show up. Guess what? There's other trans people in this world.
That is fine.
Other trans people, other trans women in this world who are fighting for you to go use whatever bathroom you want to use, to present how you want to present. In New York City, there's girls can get their vagina and get their breasts. You paid for yours. So therefore, if
I was one of those girls that were out there fighting.
Exactly.
I was one of those girls out there fighting.
But now you're telling the girls that they're not real women. They're not women.
Because they're not.
Then you don't have a place here.
Ooh.
I said it. I mean, yeah. I love you down, but this is not a conversation that you need to.
This is not a conversation for if you're not binary trans woman, you cannot be in conversation like this. I'm telling you, Giselle, you have to go in yourself and soul search yourself, because honestly, sister, I'm telling you, life is hard as a trans woman. I know this. I'm a Black trans woman also, but you have to find yourself and find the reason why you decide to be a woman. Yes, you can detransition. We will still love you. We will still show up for you, but you cannot bash trans women in the process, because that's bullshit.
I don't think it's about bashing trans.
You are. There is girls on this forum that's gonna listen to what you're saying and believe that they're not women. And guess what? They can go take some pills and kill themselves because Giselle Fox said, you know what, trans women are not women. So why are we literally being a woman then if we're not women?
That's a very shame that they would listen to that out of all the other positive things that I've said throughout the year. That'd be the one thing that they listen to. And also the referral to Dr. Molina. But yeah, that would be someone having selective hearing. But
Giselle, you have Facebook Live every day and you talk about your experience.
No.
So don't you think that trans women that follow you?
First of all, yeah, I want to say Facebook, yeah, that is one format that is heavily policed.
Didn't you say you released music?
Huh? Oh,
didn't you say released music?
Over 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago. I don't do that anymore.
I just feel like you have a lot of soul searching to do. I'm not trying to police your gender. You can be whatever gender you like to be, but in trans women space, we need to have voices for trans women because trans women don't speak for themselves. A lot of two-spirit speak for us. Gay men speak for us. Cisgender women speak for us. And that's not good. This forum is for girls who are binary, trans women who's actually identify and actually feel organically that they are women.
Based on your standards of what you all
think a trans woman is. Giselle, I just broke it down to you in a biological model. The same argument that you just read from is the same argument that I gave you back because the body is a part of the mind and we talked about the neuroconnections. You apparently don't suffer from the same medical condition that we do. And that's okay and that's fine.
Okay, and how did you come to that conclusion though? How do you come to that conclusion? Okay, let me ask you this. Based on what criteria is a person
the American Psychiatric Association, the world.
What is the criteria that you guys are going to be using to allow people to sit at your table? What is the criteria that you guys are going to use to allow people to identify as such? To allow people
you can't say you could identify such and then turn around and tell trans women they're not women. You just said trans women are not women.
You're not.
So how can you sit at the same table? You will never sit at the same table with me and tell me that I'm not a woman. I'm a woman.
Period. You're a certain.
So you cannot tell me that I'm not a woman and then want to sit at my table and break bread with me. Hell no.
But you can't have it both ways, Bob. You can't sit here and tell us what we are when you don't want us telling you what you are.
Exactly.
So it's basically a contradiction of
contradiction.
You are the contradiction.
I am who I am, and you are who you are. That's fine, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this because let me go ahead and break some history down for you all. So let me tell you all this. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a little boy that came from Birmingham, Alabama that came to Hollywood and basically tried to do music and all that stuff. And there was a place out here called the Arena that, the girls would go and kiki and all that stuff like that. So anyways, that was where that boy became and, started to transition and become one with themselves. There was no name for it. There was just like, you are just you blend into more feminine. Oh, you're not a gay guy. You're transgender. Then at 19 years old, he sees his therapist and the therapist says, I think you may be transgender. And the boy says, no, I'm not transgender. Oh no, I'm not. Fights it with everything. A year later, this person has transitioned and is fully transgender. So let's fast forward to 2013, where Islan Nettles is killed in New York City, a transgender woman I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with. So myself, which is now that boy or so, and Ashley.
Wait, hold on. I'm stuck at the fact that, wait. You're saying that you transitioned because a therapist told you to?
No, you're not. No. I'm that's just a little part of the story.
No, give
No,
us. We're
no.
trying to understand you,
Okay.
and that we're there's a lot of blurred lines here now. So wait, you're
Mhm.
wait. I'm confused now.
I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version because we're in a society right now where if I say everything, it's going to be long-winded and I'm going to be accused of dominating the conversation. So I'm trying to give you the Cliff Notes version. So anyways, fast forward to the part where you actually called me and said, "Hey, we need to talk about this. We need to do a video or something."
Come together as
Yes.
trans women to have a
Yes.
conversation about
Yes.
the lack of sisterhood between
Yes.
trans women, and we started this channel together.
Yes.
And through the years, you felt a disconnect.
Hold on.
And wanted to distance yourself from trans.
You're going way ahead. You're going way ahead.
Okay. You want to give a clip?
I'm giving my Clip Notes version. So when this channel first got started, yes, went with praise and all that stuff. But then guess what we were getting? We were getting comments from the very community that we were helping that we were not a representation of trans women, that we were too messy. You remember those days that you remember? That messy show. And we even had a cast member on the panel that would threaten us all the time and say, "Oh, I should start my own trans channel because, I am the channel, Milan." So then she broke off and we did our own thing. And as it grew and everything, the very community that we supported, the very community that we gave a platform for, shitted on us. They basically used us like the pick apart place where you go and just pick apart. They would watch episodes to get certain details or get certain things, would never acknowledge us, would never acknowledge us or give us the credit where credit was due. Only in little bits and portions. So that's the trans community that you guys are talking about that I haven't fought for or whatever. So I've been fighting since I've.
No one ever said you were not fighting for it. We're talking about your identity.
No one ever said that you were not fighting.
And I was identifying back then, and I wasn't being appreciated.
I agree.
Giselle, why did you transition?
But see, listen, Sasha. Let me just say this real quick, baby. So I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying, Fox. I feel what you're saying because, like, I'm actually in that place right now. Because I also too, I feel like all of the things that I have done for the community, like they put me through a lot more shit than cis people put me through, and so I understand your frustration in that aspect. From being an advocate and pushing for rights and being out there and doing the thing. Like I totally get that. And I totally get like, you needing some space because I needed some space. I needed that distance. And I really didn't want to fuck with community like that. I still don't really fuck with community like that for certain reasons. I only choose to, deal with certain people, but that's because of a personality trait. That didn't necessarily change my ideology. For you, that may have changed your ideology, and I'm understanding now that that's the case because that's what you're articulating. But I have a sense that all of this is I understand that you're hurt. I feel that hurt. I go through that same thing, but that still doesn't. For me, I'm just talking about me. It still doesn't invalidate that I do have an innate connection to other people in my community. And there is just some innate feeling that I'm always going to try to make the best representation that I possibly can, despite what I have gone through, because I know that there are young trans girls out there that are going to appreciate it, even if it's not a lot. Someone's going to benefit off of it. So even though I may not, be out there marching, like I still try to be the best representation that I possibly can be, because I know that there's always somebody else looking, not even the cis world, but just for, other trans people. So I know what it's like to be disillusioned, from the community, and I'm not going to make any more assumptions from there. And I'm just going to stop.
And this is exactly why I decided to leave the channel. I decided to leave the channel because I decided that, my ideology and the way I'm feeling is coming across as being transphobic and problematic.
It is transphobic.
Yeah, well, to certain people. However, I'm not feeling like it's being problematic. But hey, if other people are feeling that it's problematic and transphobic, then you know what? I'm going to step down. Huh?
What's the difference between you and a mindset of an old types person who believe that trans women are a man? What's the difference between you and a feminist group who believe that trans women are not women? What's the difference?
The difference for me is because of the fact that I still have love in my heart, and I come from the South where.
But your love is hurting other people. You are telling other people they are not women.
You know, back in Birmingham, Alabama. Back in Birmingham,
I came from Jamaica.
In the South.
I came from Jamaica, the islands.
Yeah. And I come from Birmingham, Alabama.
Are we gonna back and forth trauma?
No, because there's a different idealism down there.
I'm from Jamaica, where they literally tell you, they literally burn you in a tire, literally.
Yes, I've heard about Jamaica. I would never go.
So
to Jamaica.
what are you saying? Your ideology does not make sense. I understand you have trauma, but guess what? Everybody on this panel has trauma.
I'm trying to tell you,
you cannot turn your trauma into being abusive to other trans women.
How am I being any more abusive than the trans women
because
that piggyback off of the trans community with their books? With that piggyback off of the trans community, by
you are reading cisgendered women.
They are there for trans women. They go in the door and they close the door. How's that any different? I'm trying to tell you that I'm coming from the South where gay, lesbian, trans, it's all gay to them. But you know what? It doesn't mean that they're trying to call you men or whatever like that. Certain people are just ignorant and they don't know the right terminology.
And that's what people like us who are trans women with binaries have to educate people who are non-binaries.
Yes, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight.
It's not going to happen overnight, but guess what? There's women that died, literally got murdered for your ass to walk to a woman's bathroom and be fine.
They didn't die for me because, honey,
trust me, they did die.
Really, if they died for me, it would have been me that would have died.
Let me say,
I wouldn't die for anything like that. I'm one of those activists, honey.
Right.
We all are activists.
But regardless, let me just say this. Regardless of my career of activism and advocacy in politics, I don't have to know you personally. I don't have to know you personally. Not only am I fighting for myself, but I'm fighting for the unknown people that I don't even know.
But the problem here is that I have an idea of what trans is, and you're excluding certain people that may not fall into that, but that suffer from the same type of prejudices. Why is it that we're having to put a label onto an impose gender?
I want to say something. If I'm in a room, right, with a bunch of cisgendered women, right, and I said I'm a trans woman, and I said to them, you know what, I don't believe in pro-life. I think that, you know what, I don't believe in that shit. Do you think that they will find me offensive?
Yes.
Okay, so you are a person who does not identify as a trans woman, and you're in a space right now telling us that we're not women. Don't you think we're gonna be offended?
Not a woman, period.
Oh.
And that's fine, and you can. That's fine, and that's your opinion, and you can feel that way. However, we binary, transsexual women who have gender identity dysphoria, we feel as though that, you know, our mind and our body should be congruent, and our aesthetic should be congruent with how we see ourselves in our head. And we define who we are, and we don't allow society to define who we are. So
if that's the case,
if it was a cis man that was on here, if it was a cis man who is straight, let's use Charlemagne saying the same thing that you're saying, guess what? All the trans women in this space will be blocking his ass, right?
I'll be cutting up. I'm sorry.
Okay, so why is it okay for Giselle to say violent words?
You're trying to say, okay, but you contradict yourself when you say I cannot identify as two-spirited.
Because that's not your culture.
How do you know that's not my culture?
You are from Alabama. You are a Black African American woman.
I feel like that's my culture. I feel that that's my culture.
Okay, so what food do you cook? What food do you cook is indigenous?
What food did I cook?
Yes. What religion? What?
I listen to my inner spirit and I cook what I feel.
Oh God.
Okay, so here's where we are, okay? So for us, we feel as though that, does passability matter? And passability for a lot of the women who are on the panel to say that passability does matter if you want to interact and engage in certain spaces. And that is the topic of the conversation, that we're not debating with you who we are or what we are. You can see it however you choose to see it, and you can identify and choose to identify however you choose to identify. But in this space, we're talking about passability and moving in certain spaces as a binary trans woman who has gender congruency.
Right. Fox, do you want to still do the call in where they can call in?
Yes.
I know.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're gonna put it.
I have to set up. I'll
Okay.
go ahead and introduce this. Formerly it was called Pull Up and Pop Off, but we're in a different space now. So now it has been called Call In and Commentary. Bougie.
Right. Yeah. So we're gonna put in a number so that anyone that wants to chime in on the topic, you can call in the number.
So dry, Miss Thing. Change it back to pop off, Miss Thing.
I was trying to adapt to the environment here. That just sounds so ratchet, and I was trying to be like all.
So what's the number?
Yes, it is. Let me see. It's 310-36. Not okay. I just put it on the whatchamacallit on my grinder. Oh, my grinder got deleted. Okay. You know what? This is the easiest way to do it. Ashley, what is the number that is appearing on your phone right now? I'm calling you from that phone. Here it is. Here it is. Yes, it is 310-596-5663. Call in and commentary, formerly known as Pull Up and Pop Off. So if you want to call in and comment on the conversation that has been had,
that's
310-596-5663. Yes.
Okay. And what I want to also say, and Sasha, I just want to
also, if you're listening to this broadcast after, please do not call this number because it will be TS Candy Pop. So please, not call this number.
There you go, appropriating our shit. Can we please have our language?
Oh, right. We got a call coming in. Hello, you're listening to Call In and Commentary. Hello. They hung up. All right.
Wow.
Girl. Shade.
Once again, that number is 310-596-5663.
Someone said put it in the chat. I put it in the chat. You don't see the number in the chat?
I see the number in the chat.
I see the number in the chat, and I see people in the chat that's trying to read. Why don't you call in and voice your opinion, Mr., Mrs., and Mr.
Okay, hold on. Sasha, I wanted to real quick just give us a background of being a Jamaican trans woman who is now.
Oh, we got the coming in again. Hold on.
I still love you, Fox.
Hello. I still love you too, Sharon. Hello. Yes. Can you? Yes. Is everyone? Can everyone hear?
We can't hear her.
Yeah, I can hear her.
You can't hear her?
I can barely hear her.
Hello. Yes. I'm just making sure that we have everything together. Hello? All right.
Take her question.
Yes. Can you? Yes. I can. Yes.
Ashley, take her question.
Fantastic. Hi.
This is who?
This is Kachanga calling from England. I'm not in London. I'm just outside from Brighton.
Okay.
And I don't know where to start talking on. The original subject about cross-dressers reflecting trans women. I was speaking with Ashley about it because I've had a couple of exes who have told me when I was in a relationship with them.
Fox, can you move it to the mic?
Okay, let's hold on one second. I'm just trying to formalize this thing here. I think I just need to put some more batteries in this. Okay. It's supposed to be an iPhone X2. Having iPhone 6 problems. Okay, can you speak now?
Yeah.
It sounds so far away. Where's the audio coming from?
Yeah, it's just not giving me the tea that it was giving me last time.
No, not at all. It sounds really far away. It's really injustice.
Yeah, it's not wow.
Okay.
Speakers. Oh, okay. Is that all right? Now, hello. What about now?
No.
Yeah, your voice compared to how when we hear her, it sounds so far away from how we hear you. Are you? Yeah. Is she?
Yeah, I have it
what
right
device?
next to the speaker.
It's 9 o'clock.
Hello.
Testing.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. I can't hear them though.
That's
hear
better
me?
a little bit.
I can hear her. I can hear her.
Wow.
Yeah, I can hear her.
It sounds a little better. Go ahead.
Oh, it sounds a little okay. So it sounds a little better now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna just drop my volume all the way up. Okay. I think that may make a difference. Okay. So
Okay.
Way better.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for calling from Brighton. Hi. And I was really excited by the original topic of conversation about cross-dressers replacing trans women, because the men that I've been seeing have always been saying that they have to take stand for the femininity, convincing, possible, and then are others after they've moved on, that their sexual standard is a lot broader, and they are very much attracted to cross-dressers who are not full-time and are fulfilling more of a slutty 60-year-old fantasy. And even though I felt myself become fishier and more comfortable over recent times, I don't feel like I'm on the same pedestal I imagined I would be, because of all the effort that I've put into my transition.
So do you feel like less devalued because of the fact that it seems as though these men are even comparing you to people that are not living their lives full-time trans?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily that even that they're comparing. I think it's that they have played us as personally, because they're making us feel that we're going to be the ultimate goal for them, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think that there are a broader section of people who are underneath the trans umbrella, who are identifying as cross-dressers, as TVs, Disney Wars, etc. And I think they are all wonderful, sexually fulfilled, having sex with just as many men as we are, of quality. because they are able to, you know, fulfill their sexual desires a lot more efficiently.
Anyone?
Right. So a lot of men, so a lot of cis men are basically putting cross-dressers on pedestals, and they're basically seeking trans women. Well, they're seeking cross-dressers. Basically, so basically what you're trying to say is that they're giving more respect to the CDs than the actual trans women.
I think there is a lot of stress associated with sex for them now. So, for example, when you get to a certain level of possibility and comfort, you expect to be taken on dates, to be respected, to be seen in public, etc. And I don't think that there is that same level of expectation coming from contractors who will, you know, put their wigs on and wear their
Right. I hear what you're saying. It's really hard to hear you, Kachunga. So I'm gonna try to repeat what you're saying. So you're saying that basically once as a trans woman you reach a certain level in your transition, you expect to be seen and respected in a certain way, but yet you're being treated like a crossdresser, a sissy whore, and basically
By whom?
by the cis men who are seeking us. They want to come at us as if we're these cross-dressers who just want to get on our knees and dress up in cosplay.
Okay, so who's problem?
In a dark apartment.
And why is
Yes,
that
you like, do you wear any stockings or something too?
You said, why is it a problem? Because
I said, why is that my like? So if I'm listening correctly, what is being said is that there are some cis men who are treating cross-dressers better than they're treating transsexuals.
No. What it is the fact that due to the lack of understanding and terminology and understanding terminology, that these men who seek trans women, they're seeking actual cross-dressers.
Well, see,
I don't think they're seeking them I don't think they're seeking them on purposely. I think they're in trans spaces seeking trans women and they come across the cross-dressers.
So no, they see them all as the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. They see them all as the same thing. But in this conversation, we're trying to police everyone's right to. We're trying to police where everyone should be talked to. Like they basically people's emotions. But when we look at the men that are attracted to us, they look at us the same way that those people in the South do. Gay, lesbian, straight, non-binary. Oh, it's all gay to them. It's all gay to them. That's why on Grindr, you know, you have so many profiles of guys. You know, now guys are these same guys will be the same ones that you'll see on their profiles, trans women only. Then after a couple of months or so, then you'll see trans women and cross-dressers.
But why would you be on a gay man's site?
Okay. This is why we need going back to Ashley's point, this is why I say language is important and we should be all using the right terminology.
See that what we have to do is
number two, if I am in the same space with a crossdresser and there is a man who is looking for a transsexual woman, that man knows the distinction between me and a crossdresser.
Thank you.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
I think there's some people that put Miss Lawrence on the same level as my.
Let me finish, okay? If you are putting yourself in spaces that it is only determinant on getting off and sex, that is something completely and totally different from actually wanting to have something that is good in quality. Let's make this here, okay?
Conventional relationships do not exist in 2019.
Well, yes, actually they do, because I just got out of a 5-year one, okay? With a cisgender man who was an attorney.
Conventional relationships do not exist in 2019.
No, that's what I'm called is. Because I'm saying this after having got out of a relationship is a cis male. He doesn't identify as anything but straight. And I have
Can I say something?
that he has been sleeping with a wider range of people than I anticipated. So I had a fairly conventional relationship with him. I signed a good guy. He would take me out for dinners, drop me off at the airport. We were boyfriends and girlfriends. And in that
We
separation,
can't hear her.
I discovered that he's sleeping with prospective too.
So you found out that your boyfriend was a cross-dresser.
Yeah. Not like
What's wrong with that?
When I was with him, I wouldn't know it. In the aftermath, I'm finding myself quite surprised at all the,
Honey, you didn't vet him properly.
everything that he told me that he was attracted to.
Yeah, they do that. They do that, Kachunga.
Yeah,
They'll
guys
tell
do
us.
that.
They always say that, oh, I want a girl who's passable with
Right.
with a real fat ass, and then
Real
they'll be
hair,
with
like, all that.
they'll be with CD Molly Bricks.
I don't see
Well,
that's not the world I live in. That's not. I don't see that in my world.
Kachunga,
Sharon, you were in a 5-year relationship. Once you get back into the market, you're gonna see the same things that we're talking about. You know, your experience is very limited because you've been off the market.
conventional.
I understand.
Your knowledge sharing.
I am not nobody's fucking spring chicken. I dated before I was in a 5-year relationship. Okay?
Right, but in 5 years, Sharon, a lot of things have changed.
I know what it is.
A lot of things have changed.
Yes,
There's no more CL. There's no more back.
Very true.
The girls are turning to Grindr, gay apps, to find a place.
Surprisingly, after I went out
Sharon, you don't know what it's like to sign up to a dating app. Sharon, you don't know what it's like to sign up to a dating app and be banned because you're trans.
Let me tell you something, okay? There are very rare true fucking transsexuals. There are very rare men who seek out true transsexuals.
Oh, I think they're non-existent. I think they are extinct.
Sharon, what I'm trying to say is that in the last 5 years, dating apps and the whole GPS location, things have changed to the point where
the same men that are looking for trans women are the same people that are looking for 8 tracks and records and CDs. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, what kind of caliber men are y'all dealing with?
But this is what I will say. I will say that the girl that was on the call-in, she was basically.
We have another call-in right now.
Okay.
Hold on. Hello. Hello. Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Is this the show?
Yeah, this is call-in and commentary. Tea time.
Well, I have how are you this evening?
We're all good. Can you all hear her?
Yeah, I can hear her.
Okay. What is your question?
Yeah, I want to know why is it so hard to be a post-op and have problems dating as a post-op woman?
I would like to answer that first. And
I'm gonna answer it first.
I feel that the problem is because already it's problematic dating as a pre-op. And as a post-op, I feel that this is what I'm hearing from other post-ops. I'm feeling like it's problematic because of the fact that when you already have problems dating as a pre-op, there's this perception that, oh, I'm going to get a vagina and everything's going to be all together. But if you don't deal with those problems before surgery, they're going to still be waiting for you post-surgery. That's what I hear a lot.
Yeah.
The problem was I didn't get the surgery. I got the surgery because I wanted it. I didn't get the surgery, looking for love. But I'm just saying that when I was pre-op, I was more in relationships now being post-op. I'm not.
Anyone else want to comment on that? I can't.
Is that your post-op?
Yes.
I think it's harder, like in the dating pool, right?
But
Like,
then
I
remember,
think
you
that
have
a
to.
lot of more men, we
Yeah.
have to get into the whole fetishization of trans women with penises.
right,
A lot
exactly.
lot of cis men, a lot of straight men
I'm
are
not-
attracted to women with dicks.
Right,
And
they
this
just want
and
you between your
this
legs.
is the
That's pretty
thing.
much
This
it.
is my thing, and y'all are gonna fucking probably ream me out for this. But this is how I truly fucking feel. And the only reason I'm not at that stage is because there's only 3 doctors here in Pennsylvania that will take my insurance, and I don't see either of the 3 of them. But I don't think that it's anything. I don't think it's not a conversation. You're completely congruent, so it's not a conversation.
I'm not understanding.
What I'm saying is that there's nothing to tell when you have had your gender reassignment surgery.
Oh, but the thing is, this is the thing. What she's noticing is that before she had SRS, she was more sought after as a pre-op woman with a penis. The fact that a lot of these men are more into chicks with dicks than trans women
What
who
kind
are post-op.
of is she in? Is she in spaces where there are men who want pre-op?
She's from New York.
Well, let's ask her what space she's in, because if she's in spaces with guys who likes girls with dicks, she ain't
It's
gonna
not
be
gonna
wanted.
happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sasha. That's my point.
Come on, if you have
It's
a
not gonna
pussy,
happen.
why would you be around niggas who wants dick?
But that happens because a lot of the
That
trans
happens a
women,
lot,
they feel more comfortable in those spaces that they
But
were
you can be
before
in
they
those
transitioned.
spaces, Giselle. You can be in those spaces, Ashley. But at the same time, as a trans woman, if you have a vagina, you have to understand that most of these guys that's in these spaces are fetishizing trans women. Like the beautiful, like we can name trans women who are very beautiful and they are single as the day has it comes. So it's not easier because they have a dick. It's not harder.
No, not at all.
Men still do not want you in a relationship. It's rare. It's very rare.
That's the problem.
Women who are having
with the dick
is a challenge, especially Black ones.
Yeah.
Like even just like, see, this is my thing. My thing is like,
Well, hold on. For the girls on the phone, she hung up.
Yeah, because there was another call that came in.
Just take questions and.
Well, just tell her. Well, let's give her as advice. Don't give up. You know, if you just had the SRS and now you're looking to date, you know, there will be a guy for you, but try going to places where, you know, there aren't guys looking for trans women who are pre-ops.
Right.
I mean, if you're in the ballroom scene, that's known place for guys that like women who are pre-ops. You know,
I thought it was known for guys that like other guys.
But the thing is, you have to
if a trans woman is in a ballroom scene looking, and a guy approaches her, he's assuming she has a penis, though.
Right. I
But
had
the
a
thing
guy.
is,
I had a guy tell me.
hold up. Let's just pause for a second, okay? Let's be very clear. All right. If you are a woman,
I think we've been everything but clear.
If you are a woman and cis men is what you like, you go into spaces where there are eligible men for you to date that are attracted to you.
What are those spaces?
For a woman who has a vagina, anywhere in the world, pick a place.
I mean, I had a guy tell me pretty much, he said, like, you know, I mean, he was like, pretty much like, because you may be post-op, like,
we have another caller coming in right now. Hold on.
Can she finish her comment?
Hold on. Yes, you're calling into calling and commentary. Where are you coming?
Yes, I'm back. I'm the post-op.
Yes, the post-op is back.
What's her name, sweetie? What's your name?
Post-op, what is your name?
Mariah.
Oh, Mariah. Her name is Mariah.
All right, hi, Mariah.
No.
You did not call that woman post-op. She has a name.
No. I didn't know her name at first. That's why I said. Okay. Yes, Mariah.
Yeah, so I was listening. I'm not in the ball scene.
Okay.
I don't go to gay places. I mostly go to straight places. And it's just been hard.
What's
so, like I said, I'm not in the ball scene. And I mostly go to straight places.
What about online?
I do online. I've done the dating. I did the dating sites and all that.
POF,
and no love.
Tinder, yeah.
Okay.
So wait, are you disclosing that you are a trans post-op?
Yes.
Stop doing that. Stop doing that.
Stop doing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. Like, I had a guy, I'm just being honest, he told me, he's like, why would I want you if I could have a cis woman? And that's what stuck with me, because I was like, well, damn.
Right,
Like,
maybe doing it for safety. I mean, it's
And
gonna be
safety.
hard. It's
And
gonna be hard because a lot of men are not seeking because they think in their mind, well, if I want a pussy, I'll get a girl who's not trans.
Hold on,
So-
we're trying to make a connection here. Andrew Bailey's in the comments, and Mariah, he wants to know, what is your race?
What if I'm not an escort?
No, he says, what is your race? What's her race? That's what he said. I think he was just asking.
What's my rate in money-wise?
no ethnicity. Like,
That's
whatever.
That's what Andrew.
Money-wise, I'm not an escort.
Okay. Well, Andrew, there's your question. There's your answer.
Oh, he said race. I think he said race.
No, I'm not that.
He asks, "What's her race?"
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a white, black, or Latina trans woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really it does. I'm assuming she's a Latina trans woman, but it doesn't really matter. White,
It
black,
doesn't matter. Yeah.
You know, the girls who are post-op are having a hard time being, but men don't fetishize over
Okay. Let's be
post-op trans women. They don't seek post-op trans women. They just seek women, period. So when they hear I'm a trans post-op, it scares them and they're thinking, well, this is not a real woman or this is not a real vagina, you know?
Right.
So Sharon is suggesting you don't disclose, but I understand you disclosing because of safety reasons.
It is a sensitive topic.
How are you coping with that?
I mean, I'm dealing with it day by day, but it's just a topic that, I wanted to discuss because I did the surgery for me. I really didn't do the surgery like to have sex or be with a partner. But the older I'm getting, eventually I do want to get into a relationship.
Right. I would honestly, are you speaking to someone? Are you speaking
And she's
to like
50.
a therapist? Are you
Don't
speaking
know
to a
it, but
therapist?
I'm 50.
Do you look transgender?
No, I don't.
Okay, so she's passable too.
I think that ultimately, one, I think that it's not, I don't think it's a non-issue for you to have to disclose that. And I think that, like, also taking into consideration, like, everyone is having, like, issues dating. Like, it's so easy to hook up with someone, but like to actually have some sort of quality relationship, which sounds like, what you're seeking.
Yeah, Mama, you're not alone. We all dealing with some kind of stuff.
These girls are going through it too.
I also want to recommend to you that you should also look into joining this space called Trans Supportive. It's in it's in the Reddit boards, and they talk about topics like this a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to disclose the person's name, but someone had an issue very similar to this, to where they are post-op and they were clocked by the guy after sex because she didn't naturally get wet, and I guess
I don't get that problem.
Yeah, but this guy, I guess, basically told the girl that he was dating that I don't see this going any more further than just sex.
But I think in those situations, I think that if you're going to be in a relationship with someone or you're going to hook up, I think that the post-op should let the guy know, and then the guy has the option if he wants to or not.
Yeah, that's a very controversial topic, because the people in that particular forum feel otherwise. That eliminates.
Right. I want to send Mariah. You're from New York, Mariah?
What did you ask, Mariah?
Huh?
Say your question again to Mariah.
Are you in New York City?
Yes, I'm in New York.
So I think there's a lot of things going on. First off, ageism is real. So as a 50-year-old trans woman who's post-op, I'm sure just being 50 years old.
He doesn't look 50.
Yeah, but still, like, just being an older woman, I can imagine it's going to be hard because a lot of women, once you pass 35, you're considered like, you know, not a catch no more, which I don't agree with, but that's what a lot of these men, they want a young girl.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. In New York City, you have it much easier than me. Honey, do you have your own apartment and do you have an Uber account? Because if you can have those two things, you're halfway to getting a somewhat of a relationship. You know, because
I have my own. I do have it. The thing with me is, at the moment, I'm really not seeking a relationship. I wouldn't mind having a friend, but the older I'm getting, like I was married and all that, and I just finished getting divorced. I just like want to have a friend and I want to date. I don't really specifically am looking for like a serious relationship.
Well, no one's dating.
I just brought the topic up because I'm noticing that it's just harder being post up and trying to even find a friend. That's the only reason why I brought it up.
Well, I will definitely say this, that no one's dating anymore. People are fucking and they're having. So if you want to get out there, you got to get on those sites like Tag, POF, you know, Grindr.
I did that. I did the POF, but they have freaks, and I'm not into freaks. I'm just looking for a nice life. I'm just looking for a nice like man to turn my pussy out, and I'm okay.
Well, have you tried like eHarmony, like something that's maybe catered
for
more towards
ain't no nice Latino man that's gonna turn her pussy out gonna be on those sites because those are paid sites. She needs to be on the sites like Prove Myself when it was around and OkCupid, you know, that are gonna give those type of men. And I'm telling you, it's all about the incentives.
Well, see, I just want to put this out here.
Oh, you need an Uber account?
I'm going to give you some other suggestions.
I have the nice apartment.
And if you know how to
I'm going to give you some other suggestions. So I would probably go to certain places like, you know, do something that you like. I would do something like, you know, maybe like a yoga class. These types of spaces, like a yoga class, going to the gym, like going to spaces that allows you to actually interact and engage with people.
What's the name of it again? I didn't hear.
Sharon said you should go to yoga spaces.
Like, you know, go to
join a pottery class or something.
Yeah.
And Julio is not going to be at the pottery class or yoga.
You don't know.
No.
Tranny sex night happens on Friday nights at the After Spot, and
I've been there.
Have you been to the underground?
When I go to the tranny parties, they assume I have a penis, and it doesn't turn out well.
Oh yeah, okay.
See, this is what I'm talking about the spaces.
So, but I mean, I thank you all for listening, and I'm glad I just got it off my chest.
Stay strong, honey.
And I would honestly, I don't know if you speak to someone.
Of course.
Be safe, lady.
Anyone else want to call in and commentary?
If the
number is
I think she should see a therapist too.
Yeah, someone can put it in the comments. We have another comment, and this is a block call, so shade alert. Okay, block caller.
Fuck you, let me fucking say it. Fuck you, bitch.
What?
Don't take the block call. Hang up, Giselle.
Okay, yeah. No more block calls. Say, hey, people have to see.
Yeah, that's why we don't do block calls.
Listen, I just want to say this, all right? Before I go.
Right.
A lot of things that we go through, like general society and other people are going through too, because we're all just human beings. So, like, let's just all acknowledge that. And some things happen in time quicker than they do for other people. And having a conversation like this, I now understand a little bit better.
Hold on 1 second, Sharon. I need to interrupt your after school special speech. We got another call in. Okay, yes, caller. Caller?
Yes, hi.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, what is your question, huh?
So my question is about appropriation.
Appropriation, okay. Can everyone hear her?
I know.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah, I just was making sure everyone can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so you were talking earlier about identifying new spirit. And I was wondering, how do you see a question from the city? Because I feel like so many times you see cis people taking from trans culture and giving like zero appropriation. So I was wondering if you all would mind speaking to that.
You mean cis people taking from trans culture? Are you talking about the Atlanta Housewives? Or are we talking about Wendy Williams, Tamar Braxton? I mean, who are we talking about?
I'm talking about like everything, because like you're like even like with Phil, like makeup, just like being gorgeous. Like you see trans women doing that, and then all of a sudden now you see, or for the past few years now, you see like especially in strip culture, you see like so many people pulling.
You know why that is? You know why that is? Because a lot of these people have usually trans people are I would say androgynous or non-binary people working behind the scenes. Right now, there's this thing that's going on when in the hip hop culture where the thing to look like a, tranny-licious are, colored wigs and, things of that nature because of the fact that there is a lot of makeup artists. One particular makeup artist, Tokyo Diva, who is androgynous, has basically transformed, culture icons like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj into full-time femme queens.
Well, no, hold on, Fox. Tokyo is a hairstylist. Cardi B's makeup artist is a trans Latina. Her name is Erica LaPearl. So Cardi B's makeup artist is a trans woman.
Okay, her hairstylist, Tokyo Styles. I'm so sorry. But yes, her hairstylist. But the hairstylist and the makeup artist usually work hand in hand.
So like when you say appropriation, like when queer people are behind the scenes inspiring all these looks, it's kind of, I wouldn't call it appropriation. I would call it kind of like, we're behind the image. We say what's in, we say what looks good. We just don't get the credit.
Yeah, no, I think what you said makes sense. And my concern is always people getting the credit. And I feel like you hear a lot of cis people saying, "Oh, they're trying to be like me" and all that. When the fact is, like, this culture has pulled so much. I mean, even look at Pose and like those culture and how all of that was appropriated. Zero credit was given.
Well, Pose, I have to correct you there. Pose, Ryan Murphy had a lot of ballroom icons on the set, and he hired a lot of ballroom people and with practically no acting experience whatsoever. I mean, if you look at some of the actors on there, like Tyra and her stiff acting. But yeah, so yeah, Pose actually did give the girls the credit.
Right, no, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, you see those Pose, and by watching that, you can, like, reflect back and see how much this culture has taken from this and never get credit, because it's been going on for a long time. But no, Pose is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right, and what's the caller? What's your name?
My name's Amanda.
Leanda, where you from?
Amanda. I'm in Alabama.
Oh, all right. Shout out Alabama, Fox's hometown. And how is it, Amanda, being a trans woman in Alabama?
Pardon?
How is it being a trans woman in Alabama? Because from what Fox says, it's a nightmare.
I never said that. I've never said it's a nightmare. You're trying to shade Alabama every chance that you can get.
Girl, you blame Alabama for your issues.
I've never blamed Alabama. You're putting words in my mouth. Only people that get to put things in my mouth is the trade that comes through and disrespect me. I will not allow another trans sister to do that. No. Basically, growing up was, because it was so fucking. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, which is also keyword for Boringham, Alabama. So yeah. And Desiree Alexander in the comments, I'm not shading the Pose girls. I'm just basically saying that, that was not appropriation. That was just, yeah. I don't know if she was talking to me or whatever.
Right.
Well, yes, Amanda?
Yeah, no, what I was saying was I'm actually a cis woman, and I've been watching y'all show for a long time. And I just moved down to Alabama from Connecticut because I'm a civil rights attorney. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, she's a cis woman?
Yes. She says that she's been watching the show and she just moved down to Alabama.
I'm so sorry. I did not know.
I'm like,
well, thanks for being a cis ally.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely here with y'all, and wanna be the best ally I can be. A lot of I work in prisons, and there's a lot of trans women in prisons in Alabama just getting treated like dirt, and
wow.
So sad.
Black
Amanda, you need to add me and Fox on Facebook. My Facebook is Ashley Breathe and Fox is Fox Giselle.
On Facebook.
Oh wow.
Well, I mean, if it makes it.
I'll find you on IG.
Definitely add us on. Keep in contact, because if you're a civil rights, if you're an attorney and you're an ally, we definitely need to be connected.
And also, I would also, because you just basically said that there's a lot of trans women in the prisons that are being treated like dirt. I mean, well, it's no different than how it is out here too. I mean, when you're not in prison.
I mean,
but yeah, in prison and out of prison. But I was going to say that if you have an opportunity to go to these prisons, it would be great to, voice out to these trans women that may not have a voice, or even have them reach out to Ashley or anyone in the community that can possibly help them and give them a voice. More so Ashley, because she's like Mother Transrisa, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Can you say my number, Bob?
Yes, I will save it and I'll pass it on to Ashley. Yes. All right.
Thank you, Amanda. Well, that was, so I see Brianna and Sasha, they just left the chat. It was they said, girl, I gotta go. Super Bowl's on. They gotta watch the halftime show. Sharon, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Gigi, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here, girl.
Well, this was a really interesting 2-hour conversation.
I think we need to let Sharon finish with her speech, because I just wanted to take that call in, because you know how these calls are. They keep coming back to back. So but yes, if you are calling in, we are basically we're closing the line. So we're closing the lines now. So we're gonna go back to the conversation. So because I really want to hear what Sharon had said. I'm just trying to be a switchboard operator and everything and be in the conversation all at one time. Wow.
Well, that's what being an ally is all about.
No, that's what working underpaid and not getting paid is all about. But yeah.
It's called doing the work.
What type of work?
So, but I just wanted to close by saying thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, thank you. I gotta run and let my doggies out.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for being a part of this conversation and conversing with us. Thank you so much, Gigi. Everyone, look out for Gigi later on this month. I'm collaborating with her to bring Tea Time Chicago, which is going to be a really nice. It's going to be really interesting to see how the girls in Chicago basically transitioning in one of the worst cities in the country. I think that the fact that if a girl can make it in Chicago, Alabama, Jamaica, it really shows that you can make it anywhere. And I think that we need to see those examples. And I don't think that we should be victims of our circumstances and just always thrive and live your best life. So,
I mean, and if also I'm gonna put in if you're a girl in Chicago that wants to be a part of this, definitely reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, or you can leave a comment on there and I'll reach out to you. Just let me know if you want to share your experience. So.
Right, trans women in Chicago.
Yes. If you're in the Chicagoland area, I will be here.
And I would like to thank this panel for, having me as a guest and calling me out and also, you know, holding me to my shit is rightfully so. I may have disagreeing factors or, you know, ideology with people on this panel, but, you know, I love them all. And shout out to all those places. If you are a trans woman that is listening to this in, you know, Chicago, Jamaica, any of those places, even, yeah, even a trans woman that is living stealthily in a town, you know, just keep your head up and yeah.
All right, ladies, well, have a good night. Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. We see you. Get them likes up. Come on. Shout out everyone. We love you all. Thanks for always being allies and supporting. Bye.
Bye.